sorry, not Old Trafford. The big game is going to be played at the Emirates. And yesterday, these managers of both teams went ahead to obviously hold what we call presses, and that of Arsenal really took place, and I'm like dividing it in like 2-3 portions. This portion is talking about Ricardo Calafiori, Hincapie boost. We're obviously going to be talking about Bukayo Saka. We're obviously going to be talking about the low blocks, because United is a team that really plays a low block. You know that very well. Then we are also going to be talking about the impact of Ricardo Calafiori. And obviously, after this, there is another segment that Arteta went ahead to talk about people like react to what Pep Guardiola came out and said, that Arsenal is the best team in the world right now. We're also going to be reacting to that very, very soon. So it's really going to be a very heated up day, and that's why I tell you, go and subscribe. After subscribing, hit the notification bell, that whenever you get notified every time I upload a video onto this beautiful channel of ours known as the Rokani Media Football. It's Saturday, and their Premier League games are obviously going to be played today, and you should note very well that a club known as Arsenal is playing after Man City plays. So that is really very important. You know, even Aston Villa into the mix. So we wait to see what the impact of those teams will obviously do. I know most of you, your eyes are going to be glued on the screens when Man City is really playing in the Premier League, because you'll obviously want to know exactly how Man City is obviously doing the needful. Let me obviously hint you onto the games that are obviously going to be played today. Early kickstarter, West Ham is going to be hosting Sunderland. Fulham will host Brighton next at 18 hours. The same applies to Man City, will host Wolverhampton Wanderers. You know, and I know many Arsenal fans will be crossing their fingers to see to it that Wolverhampton Wanderers puts out a fight they put out at Arsenal the year. Remember that game? Arsenal found themselves in a position of winning it, but they never scored none of those goals. Both of the goals were own goals. You know, Burnley will play against Tottenham Hotspur. Bournemouth will host Liverpool, another big one for you to watch. Crystal Palace tomorrow will obviously play Chelsea. Newcastle will play Aston Villa. Again, that means Aston Villa will play first before Arsenal. You get? Then Brentford will play against Nottingham, and then on Sunday, 19:30 hours, Arsenal will be taking it down at Emirates against Manchester United. After this live video, I'm going to be recording what we call the match preview. It will be airing in like 2-3 hours from now. Then I'll go to Manchester United channel, do the Michael Carrick presser, and then I'll also record what we call the match preview. And then those that are from Uganda and you really love Luganda, you'll catch me on a channel known as Echimeza Chomupira. You can find me there. So guys, let's obviously start it off, as I did a video that is almost clicking 6,000 views onto my channel known as the Rokani Media Football, about Ricardo Calafiori and Hincapie return. And guess what? No sooner had he stepped into the room where he holds his press conferences from, Mikel Arteta was posed a question of if Ricardo Calafiori, right? The question read, Ricardo Calafiori, are they ready for Sunday? Arteta came out and said, we still have another training session today, so we will see on Saturday. After that, to assess everybody and make a decision, first of all, in the squad. So, that is really very important. If you've been following up on what Arsenal is going to have to be doing, you understand. They are a side, you know, they are a side that is going to have to obviously put out a very huge fight and bargain, you know, to see to it that they really have these players back. And as I told you in that video, that for the very first time, Arsenal is having a fully fit squad. A fully fit squad is what Arsenal is really having. You understand? And the return of these two is really very important, because the manager looks like he lost hope in a guy known as Lewis Kelly. And you saw to it that they missed out onto Lewis Kelly hugely in there. So that is exactly what you're really having from the manager. He has told us that today they are conducting a training session, and the training session will obviously help the manager assess these players in here All right, you guys, I'm back. So, Arsenal is obviously welcoming these two left backs and left centre backs. It's really very important. And if you're an Arsenal fan, this really has to send you at cloud nine. So, you have every reason to jubilate. As I told you in the video I did earlier that told you about the return of these players, that in the next 14 days, Arsenal has to play 6 games, 2 games per week. You get? And they are really very decisive because for the Premier League, if Arsenal continues their stretch of really winning, you know what is going to happen? Arsenal will find themselves in a position of really being 10 points by the end of February. As I told you, that Man City has to play teams like Tottenham away, then Liverpool. After playing Wolverhampton Wanderers, they have to play 2 away games, you know, in the Premier League. You get? Those games are really going to be very instrumental into whether they close down on Arsenal or Arsenal really continues to do the needful. You get? But these players returning is really very important. But there is one of those that has proven to be Arsenal's first choice left back, and that is Riccardo Calafiori. And he has been missed, I tell you. Riccardo Calafiori has been missed. He is doing a lot. Defensively, he's hard. You know, going forward, all his offensive play is really out of this world. You get? He scores goals, and I tell you, he inverts well in the midfield. And sometimes you might think he's not a left back. You know, he is a more aggressive and defensive Zinchenko. Zinchenko used to do these kind of things. Going forward, one of the best players under pressure, you know, his game awareness, line-breaking passes, you understand? But he couldn't put in a cross because I can remember, you know, that the only cross I saw Zinchenko really laying in that was really deadly is when United lost late at Emirates, you know, in that game of Erik ten Hag that he first played or managed at the Emirates. You remember that game that was 2-2? I think Lisandro Martinez had a goal in there. I think Marcus Rashford had scored. Xhaka leveled, and even Saka leveled again in there. No, it was United taking the lead, I think, through, was it Marcus Rashford? You know, then Granit Xhaka went ahead to level. Then Arsenal went ahead to take a lead. You remember that shot of Bukayo Saka, you know, that hit, and David De Gea couldn't obviously go near it. Remember that very well. Then after that, United scored through a set piece. It was a corner, and it was Lisandro Martinez that leveled the game. And United defended. You know, I saw David De Gea make a save that no goalkeeper I've ever seen make it. It was really a super wildie of wildies. You understand? From there, Zinchenko, in the 92nd minute, he laid in a very beautiful cross in there that saw, was it Gabriel Jesus, you know, went ahead to obviously do a touch on it, and it went ahead to find an Hincapie, and Hincapie buried that ball into the back of the net. You get? He rarely puts in such deadly crosses, but for Riccardo Calafiori, he has everything that Zinchenko had, and all the deficiencies of this Zinchenko are really efficiencies of this guy. Zinchenko couldn't defend. This guy defends very well. Zinchenko was short. This guy is tall. Zinchenko never had a very good end product to his game. But this guy really does have it. So, he is an improved version of Zinchenko. That is Riccardo Calafiori. And to show you that, he is one of the most important assets in that player cast of Arsenal. Arteta was asked this question about Riccardo Calafiori having gone ahead to obviously return. They asked Arteta on how much the balance of the team has been impacted by missing Riccardo Calafiori. Have you heard? He said, "We are trying to adapt to the qualities of our players, and certain players give us more dynamism and more options in terms of spaces that they can occupy and where they are comfortable." He added and said, "and how they can link between them. And others are probably more static and more fixed and more positional. And Riccardo Calafiori's quality is that. And Riccardo's quality is that he can be very fluent in many spaces. Now, this is what I told you about Ricardo Calafiori. He's a different breed of player. Different total breed of player. You get? If you know what you're talking about. The guy is what he thinks he is. Even the manager is like, other players are good, but they are fixed, and they are static. In certain areas of the pitch, they don't express themselves very well. But Ricardo Calafiori, even under pressure, he really expresses himself very well. And no one can obviously threaten him to obviously feel like he's going to get out of his character. He's always in his character and he never really gives up. You understand? So, the manager also said about his dynamism and he has more options in terms of spaces. Meaning that whatever situation you find him in, it's very hard to see him make a mistake. That is Ricardo Calafiori for you, and that's what really makes him one of the super players at the club of Arsenal. He's one of a kind that is irreplaceable. Hincapie, I know, he has the same traits like this guy, but I think he has not gone ahead to gain that confidence, and he's like fighting to get into that team. Remember, Ricardo Calafiori last season, he really had those flashes, of what quality he has in his gameplay and what he is as compared to Lewis Kelly and Zinchenko, who was there by then. And the other one was the other ones from abroad. Sorry, the other ones from the likes of Hincapie and so on and so forth. But by so doing, Ricardo Calafiori now has confidence that he's a starter at the club of Arsenal. If you've ever gone ahead to play football, if you want to be at your best, then you need to know that, or you need to be having a confirmation that you are a starter. You've gone ahead to say to it that many players who come off the bench, all bench players don't really look out to be what they are, not until they go to teams where they have been given guarantee that they are starters. You understand? For example, I saw Elanga at Nottingham Forest. He was a very good player off the bench. At Nottingham, being a starter, he turned into a threat that even led to his move, to Newcastle. Close to 50-60 million pounds was really paid, and United really had the 20% sell-on clause. You understand? Then look at a player like there are very many players who have left. Hincapie, go and watch him out at FC Porto. What really puts out? Nuno Tavares, one of the players I really liked most, but he was really erratic, and he really had very many sloppy passes, and he looked out to be unserious. You get? But that keeps him going. So I think even Pierre Hincapie just needs to find himself in a position of really getting to know that he's getting to that starting 11. But he has the traits. He has a very perfect cross on him. He can dribble past a player, press resistant. And what really has more than Ricardo Calafiori, he's a hard player. He's a hard tackler. You understand? He's an aggressive player. And very many players in the Premier League are obviously going to be afraid of him. He has those traits of Lisandro Martinez, though Lisandro Martinez is really technically gifted than any of the defenders in the world. I haven't seen a central defender in the world who possesses technical abilities like that of Lisandro Martinez. And it's one of the things we're going to be discussing in what we call the combined 11, on who is going to be playing on the left side of the centre back. We're going to be discussing the strengths of Gabriel Magalhaes and the strengths of Lisandro Martinez, and then we'll come to a conclusion on who will get into our combined 11. I think that's going to be one of the 11s that you people are really going to be waiting for in here, because you are like, we want to see what Rokani does. He supports Man United, and he also thinks that Arsenal is one of the best teams in the world, and he told us that Arsenal has the best centre-back pairing in the world. So what really comes with that? I'm obviously going to serve you, and I know none of you will obviously complain about what I'm obviously going to be telling you, right? So let's get into... After that, the manager was asked, Arteta was asked on if there are fresh injuries. He said, no. After Inter, we had no issues reported. So, this is the excitement of every manager. Every manager would love to see him having a fully fit squad. And this is what Mikel Arteta is really having and going in through at his side. So, he's really excited for his side not having any injuries. And I think that should be the happiness of every manager. And that headache will obviously be solved by the manager. Now, the team they're going to be playing is one of those teams that really plays a low block and they rarely play high line. Arteta was asked about the low block and he said, well, it's one of the weapons that is necessary because a lot of teams are doing that. But as well, we can see more and more the man-to-man game that is conquering not only the Premier League, but Europe, I think, as well. So you need to dominate all the phases in the game if you want to have the chance to win major trophies. Now, Arteta is talking about the man-to-man game. And Arteta, what I was going to hate to make this Arsenal side of his very different is that he can play any kind of game. If you say let's go aggressive, he'll go aggressive. If you say let's go physical, he'll go physical. If you say let's go technical and let's go to the tiki-taka, his team can do a tiki-taka. And there are two power horse engines in that midfield of Arsenal. It's Martin Zubimendi and Declan Rice. You get? And with Martin Odegaard, who is less of a workhorse in that midfield, but he also puts pressure points onto the players that are playing the midfield and leads them to the intellectual blocks and interceptions that are made by Declan Rice and Martin Zubimendi. So that's what really makes him deadly, that midfield of Arsenal, as compared to that of Manchester United, because you won't really have a lot of workaholics in that midfield, because Kobbie Mainoo is not a workaholic, but I like him because of his technical abilities and the way he really uses his positional sense to block those spaces that Arsenal will obviously use, you know. And why do you need Kobbie Mainoo in this game? It's because Kobbie Mainoo is a player who acts well under pressure, and with United going to play a low block at the Emirates, all he has to do is to really get that ball with very many people around him and maybe find that line-breaking pass to Bruno Fernandes, Bryan Mbeumo, or Amadi Diallo to obviously unleash whoever will be leading the line for the club of Manchester in that particular game. So, Arteta has every antidote for every plan to put down Arsenal. And that's why most of the games that Arsenal have gone ahead to lose, it's because that they've just gone ahead to fail to really score. And maybe that day was not theirs. But when the day is theirs, they can destroy any team on planet Earth, I tell you. They can destroy any team on planet Earth. That is Arsenal for you. So, on the low blocks, he really has a plan. You get? And he's like, I'm really gonna go in for that. You get? So, that's what Arteta really had to say. Now, Arteta was asked on how different is when it comes to setting up teams, you know, in Europe and in the Premier League. He said, first of all, because the information and the time that you have to prepare those games, and when you don't know them that much, it's a bit different. He also said that he added, then the rules change a little bit in the way the games are managed as well, and there is always an element of you in or out. You need a point, you don't. You need a point, you don't. So the results as well on how teams behave can change. But so far, it has been good. So, in Europe, it's really very different because it's rare to know an opponent to that depth. So that's what it calls in for. So that's what Arteta has gone ahead to obviously say about that. And there is something about Bukayo Saka that he hinted on. Let me look for that and obviously do this, and then I get into the comment section and obviously have a word with you, because you, my people, have been here and you've been supporting. Now, Bukayo Saka goal record has been not the best, and this season, I tell you, he's really struggling to obviously add what we call stats to his game. And he's a player of stats, and that's why I told you that if a player known as Max Doman goes ahead to really do his game very well, he'll be one of the deadliest, and he will be a huge threat to Bukayo Saka's starting position at the club of Arsenal. You get Arteta on Saka's recent goal scoring record. He said that's a possibility always, but the impact that he has in games around all the attacking processes for us, and the attraction that he has in the points as well, opening up spaces for other players, that's what the manager is going to hit to hint on. And he concluded by saying we want him obviously to play scoring and assisting in every match, and that has to be the aim at the level that he has. So we keep working on that. So the fact is, he has not been really looking good when it comes to scoring goals. He hasn't been sharp. He doesn't look sharp, I tell you. He doesn't look sharp anymore. And he's really very, very, very blunt. He's really very, very, very blunt. It's a situation that you wouldn't like to see your dependables really come up and obviously be in, as Bukayo Saka. You would love to see far much more better from him, but the deliveries are really very lacking for him. But I know that for the very first time in his career at Arsenal, he has obviously gone ahead to get a competitor. That is it. Because every time Noni Madueke gets a chance to start, or he comes off the bench, he's like sending a message to the manager that I'm supposed to be the starter. The energy he plays with, and he's like doing things that Saka is struggling to do. You get skipping past players, very direct, very decisive. But I told you the reason as to why Arsenal never got 3 points against Liverpool was because of Bukayo Saka. His selfish game costed that team of Arsenal. And I know the manager is trying to tell Saka that please do the easy thing. Do the easy thing. And I don't know why players who are not technically gifted try to do hard things, yet technically gifted players try to do the easy things. For example, let me give you a player like Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin De Bruyne at Man City, he had everything. When it comes to taking off players, he could. If you ask him to come up and obviously shoot from far, he could. He could obviously curl that ball. He had everything that you would want him to do. But the lad could do what we call easy, He simplified everything, And whichever striker he has played with, he has gone ahead to score goals. When Rasmus Højlund was at Manchester United, and they are like, he's not scoring in goals, I'm like, who feeds him? He goes to Napoli, he plays with the best number 10 in the world, Kevin De Bruyne. He was scoring goals for fun until Kevin De Bruyne went ahead to obviously get injured. You get? So, I want to come here and assure you that Saka needs to do easy things. Let him make things easy, because sometimes, or most times, he makes things hard. Sometimes he really releases that ball early enough, but I think the manager's going to have to give him that that luxury and allowance and space to do whatever he wants with the ball. That's why he still comes in here to defend him. But at Liverpool, close to 2-3 times, if he had gone ahead known to go for shots and chose a pass, it would have gone ahead to obviously help him. And secondly, his shots, he should start to choose technique over power. You get? If he starts choosing technique over power, he'll be really that deadly, I tell you. He's a very good player, I tell you. And one thing I like about him, he's a hard-working player. However much he's a forward, he tracks back to help either Julian Timber or Benjamin White. You know, he's not a lazy player. You get? And Arteta very much likes players who track back. You remember, those of you who are asking me why Ebelechi Eze was not playing those games, the reason was simple. Ebelechi Eze was the reason as to why Arsenal went ahead to concede the first goal against Aston Villa. And that had happened before, but Declan Rice came to the rescue of Arsenal not conceding. And the manager called Ebelechi Eze onto the touchline and told him, you are not supposed to really dilly-dally around when they're obviously attacking, to let Calafiori be in a situation of 2v1. So, after that team conceded a second goal, I think the manager even took him off at halftime, you know, and it was like, we're not returning to play the second half. You get? So, he benched him for some 4-5 games in the Premier League, not even playing a minute. And I think he brought him back. And that's why I tell you that that to and fro movement of a forward is really very important for Mikel Arteta, as he penalized Ebelechi Eze, who is a good player, but he was like, if you are doing this to me, I'm not obviously going to let you be on my pitch. That is what we talk about Arteta. And that's why he loves Bukayo Saka. He really tracks well, and going forward, he drives this team a lot. And he's a big game player, by the way. That is it. And in games like these, he shines a lot at the Emirates, especially. At Old Trafford, Saka's not going ahead to shine hugely, but at what we call the Emirates, Saka starts Sakaing at that pitch. So that's what he said about Bukayo Saka as a manager. He had lots of things talked about Kai Havertz. Can we talk about Kai Havertz a little bit? Let me go here and see what he talked about Kai Havertz. Then I really drop in Kai Havertz a little bit, and then I come into the comment section. On Kai Havertz, where is Kai Havertz? Kai Havertz. On where Kai Havertz is, on whether Kai Havertz is in his rehab, the manager said, well, he's very close. Obviously, he has been out for so long, almost a year, for different reasons. And now we have to be very smart in the manner that we manage the load, the minutes. And I'm sure that in the next few weeks, he's going to play in minutes. I cannot tell you which competition, because that will depend as well on the game context. And it is a context that is positive to throw him in or not. With his abilities, with his qualities, it is great that we have him. We can use him in different positions. We will see him in different positions. We are really happy to have him. So that's what he really said. And I think the manager is really spot on for this guy, as he needs that time as a player. And in the due course of really needing that time as a player, he needs to heal, and his return needs to be managed very well. Like they've gone ahead to do for Gabriel Jesus, you know. Many people are like, Gabriel Jesus should be thrown into start, guys. Do you know the reason as to why Gabriel Jesus has been having those setbacks, to and fro returns, like the injuries? It's because Arsenal had him as the number 9, and they couldn't obviously see him recover hugely. But this season, you saw to it that they kept him out for almost a year. You get? And the team was performing very well because they knew to it that they had Victor Gyökeres in there. They had Mikel Merino who could come in and obviously do the job. Even when Gyökeres was injured, you know, and Jesus was really close to return, they never really hurried him. But remember, in his debut season in 2022, after the World Cup, you know, he had a knee injury in December. He got a surgery in December. After getting a surgery in December, January, February, they're like, he's returning back in February. And March, he returned. 3 months. And I think that was really so early for a player who really has an injury to return. So this time round, they've gone ahead to really give him ample healing time. And you see to it that he's really playing in some good games as a player for the club of Arsenal. So I just love it that the physios are really understanding it. And even Kai Havertz reserves to be handled that way. And there is no urgency, you know, because now Gyökeres and Jesus are really doing the job, and there is no urgency in there. Now, Arteta was asked on the importance of having Kai Havertz firing at the end of the season. He said, yes, because after a long-term injury, it is not only the period that you come in, it is what happens in the next 6 or 8 weeks. And we want to maintain that and manage that really well so that we can creep it up, as you said, when all the big games are coming up, and we have to make sure that everybody is in the right mind and physically at the highest level. That is what the manager is talking about, the guy. And on how supporters can come, right, for that, I'm really going to be recording a video about it. But thank you guys for watching through. Smash like button, comment and share, so as not to lose out on this or miss out on stories. He was asked on if it's difficult for Kai Havertz to trust his body now. He said, I don't think so, because he's a player. He's a player that has unbelievable track record. And what happened? Okay, it happened, and you have to go through that in your career at least once. He's gone through that period that has enabled him as well to learn more about the game, about his body, and probably about how much he loves playing and how difficult it is in his life, and football is not a big part of that. And he looks really hungry, and I'm sure we are going to see a very good version of Kai. Obviously, he's talented. I tell you, Kai Havertz, technically gifted, uses his body very well, and he went ahead to obviously add some kilos, some weight on his body, and he saw to it that he's now a little bit more and more marked as a player of this team known as Arsenal. So we wait and see how that pans out. And with that, all that said, I promised you that I'm obviously going to be coming into the live chat to obviously talk to you here onto our channel. The first person to come and comment in was Mubarak. Said, Mr. Aradi, big up, bro. While pressure is mounting every Arsenal fan, how Man United duty is to sabotage United this season. Guys, Arsenal hasn't lost a game at Emirates this season, and the only two teams that have gone ahead to survive at Emirates are Liverpool and Man City, and the game ended in a draw. So, Man United should know what is at stake for them when they are coming at the Emirates. This is Asumani Sembaja. Hi, Aradi. Hello. Kasande Ben. Live and clear. All right. Moki254 from Kenya. Good morning. Rokani. Good morning. Richard Fenny. Hey, Rokan. David. Good morning. Thanks for the update. Thank you for watching through. Buire. I wish Calafiori starts on the left back tomorrow. Obviously, we'll throw him in. And we've seen this manager do these things a lot, meaning that by the moment they release out that information this player has been training, that means has been training like for the past 1 or 2 weeks, because you saw Mosquera, you know. We saw him train with the club of Arsenal on Monday. And was it Tuesday or Wednesday? They threw him into the starting 11 for the club of Arsenal, and he played a huge number of minutes in there. Tumusime says, good morning, Aradi, late in class, but you can obviously go back and really watch this video from where it started. This is Henry from Chigezi Highland. All right. Tusime, waited for you since yesterday. All right. I'm sorry, but I've gone ahead to obviously drop this live video because I promised it. But I think yesterday I served you to the fullest. Saka providing something else and defends target. He massively, yeah, Saka is a good player. He's a good player, but all I want him to improve is his end product and decision making. Sometimes he's really a little bit selfish. Let's all admit about that. To see me, are you gonna do combined 11 after your match preview? Obviously, it will drop. That's a sure deal. It will drop. A combined 11 will drop. And the good thing with YouTube right now is that you can do a collaboration. So that means it will drop at the United Matters channel and drop at the Rokani Media Football. Right. So it will drop. Be rest assured that it will be dropping. The match previews are dropping today, and other stories will come in later. Actually, you have truly described Saka, and Odegaard is not respected because of giving passes to Saka. Yeah, it's an order. It's an order. You know, Arsenal's gameplay thrives so much onto that right. And by the way, it's not done by mistake. Arteta knows it very well that this left side is also good, but he needs to really fake the opponent, all falsehood, all hoodwink the opponent, that we are using so much the right. And that's why you see to it that most of the switch plays from the fullbacks, from the midfielders like Zubimendi and Declan Rice, go so much onto the left. Do you know why? Because when they are playing their tiki-taka, they use so much the Saka, Julian Timber side. You get? And now, the Leandro Trossard side and Ricardo Calafiori is used so much to obviously switch play. You understand? That is it. Buire Michael, Aradi, you think what's wrong with Eze? Eze is doing good. I told you, the problem of Eze was not tracking back, and Arteta was calling for that you need to work hard, you need to track back, When they're attacking us, you need to come and defend. When you're attacking, you need to obviously engage into the offensive play for the club. Kambungo, morning brother, always the thing you talk comes true. Like the way you talk, wait Liverpool and Man City, they'll drop points. Arsenal is now topping the table. I told you. At the start of the season, Liverpool went ahead to win 5 games consecutively. People were like, Liverpool is winning. And I'm like, I'm relaxing and floating because I know what Liverpool is going through. This is a marathon, not a 100-meter race. So, at the end of it all, you went ahead to see what exactly happened to Liverpool. They are 4th, So, they are no longer even being spoken about anywhere into this title conversation. Simple X Kasimba. Arsenal defend as a unit. That's why they don't concede a lot of goals. That is why he wants his wingers to track back when they lose the ball. Obviously, for any team, the wingers have to track back. You get? I support Man United, but one of the reasons why he hated Marcus Rashford was like he was not tracking back. And surprisingly, when he went to Barcelona, the guy is tracking back like a beast. You get? So, every player has to be hard working on the pitch. That's the reason as to why Eric Ten Hag got rid of who? Ronaldo Cristiano, because he's like the first line of defense when your opponent is starting the game, la ball, is your striker. He has to obviously come and start defending. And what defending does he do? Pressing. You have to press. You need to be having strikers that really press. You get? So, they have to track back. Every team needs to see those players really tracking back. Even if you see City, even if it's Bernardo playing as the right forward, you see him run back. You understand? To see Catherine, please talk about Julian Alvarez, and do you think Arsenal will need a striker really? For Julian Alvarez, let me give you just a hint, but I'll come up and obviously drop a video about him. He's a versatile player. He can play behind the center forward. He can play as a left forward. He can play as a right forward. He can lead the line. And he's clinical. That is it. But I'm going to give you my views about him very, very soon. So please, just keep in touch. And that's why I tell you subscribe and always hit what we call the notification bell in there for you. So Sunya Okpala says, good morning, sir. Good morning. So guys, it has been nice talking to you, and I've had fun discussing all this with you. I've gone ahead to pick out some talking points that Arteta really put out, and this is obviously going to be becoming the order of the day. Every time Arteta drops a presser, we'll come live and obviously do some pick outs. But I'm going to break it down. I will return after the match preview that I'm going to be uploading like 1 or 2 hours from now. I'll come back here and really let you know about something that Arteta hinted on. He reacted to Pep Guardiola talking about or referring Arsenal as the best team in the world. Arteta had something to say about it. Then we'll have something to say about Gabriel Jesus, Kai Havertz, and Gyökeres, another huge topic to discuss about. So I'm gonna really do close to 3 videos, in this match reaction. Then tomorrow morning, you know what we do? Final preparations of how Arsenal really prepared about the game of Manchester United. We'll obviously give you exactly what Arteta thinks about this game, and what is happening at Old Trafford will be found at a channel known as the United Matters channel. From here, I'm heading to United Matters channel to do the same video about the presser of Michael Carrick, the interim manager for the club of Manchester, who might become the permanent manager if at all in the remaining 16 games he really showcases his intent as one of those managers that are really deserving the job. So thank you, Good morning. Enjoy your Saturday. That is it. Tomorrow is going to be a big one. And to see me, Catherine's Hayes, waiting for the match. Thank you for watching in through. I love you. And